conversion of St. Paul also invites us to think about our own conversion, our own calling, our own conversation with God, and finally the cost we all have paid. I would like to conclude a story of a modern day saint. I have mentioned his name many times, but his conversion is very, very similar to St. Paul, and his ministry is very well reflected in, St. Paul's ministry is very much reflected in the ministry of a man from Indian Punjab 120 years ago. He was a young teenager going to a local primary school. He hated Christians because he thought Christians are Westerns, because that was the time when a lot of British Christians, American Christians, they were ministering the churches and people in Punjab and in India. He went to a Christian Presbyterian primary school, and that was the time when it was imperative for missionaries to preach the gospel other than anything else. So they gave him a copy of the New Testament. He brought the copy in his home. He had quite a wealthy background. In the presence of his cousins and family in the courtyard, he burned the copy of the New Testament because he hated Jesus, he hated Christians, just like St. Paul hated Christians. And he had no room at all in his heart for Jesus. And that night, he was quite disturbed. He couldn't sleep. And then he prayed, Lord, or in Hindu or Sikh concept, whoever you are, come and reveal to me. Otherwise, I am going to lay on the railway tracks this morning. I'm going to die. Half an hour before, sometimes trains are late in India, half an hour before the train was supposed to come, his room light. And then he asked the light, who you are. Sadhu Sundar Singh says, the light spoke to me and said, I am Jesus to whom you persecute. But I heard it in my mother tongue. St. Paul says, I heard this voice in Hebrew, and he says, I heard this voice in Punjabi. No one had idea this young lad from Indian Punjab one day will be celebrated as a saint in the Church of England. He came to this country a few times, but he's highly elevated, not because of any big position he got in the church, but because of the service he provided for the truth of the gospel and for the spread of the gospel. Even today, when we are going through our terrible situations in our lives, road to Damascus, road of sadness, road of anger, road of hatred, road of joy, happiness, in whatever situation you find yourself. But once you have that encounter with Christ, life is changed.